Okay, so welcome to the weekly conversation here. At Conversion, we talk about maybe a little bit advanced or out-of-the-box lead generation and conversion strategies. If you go to conversation.com and you go all the way down to the bottom and you go to training right there, it's probably the easiest way to get to it. You can find a page that has all these recordings on it. The recordings will be down at the very bottom. There's a couple hundred of them at this point, but all of our episodes, so to speak, are right there. We also post these to the Conversion Facebook group and to the Conversion Facebook page, facebook.com/conversion every week. So but that's that. Today we're just going to do kind of a hodgepodge. I want to touch on some niche thinking, maybe a little bit on a niche that we've been working on here in Florida with a conversion user. But first I want to jump into a few example ads that I posted to the group the other day and just point out some of the kind of niche down things you can do and just share some things that are kind of working, some new experiments we've been working on. Now, of course, guys, I'm like a broken record here with Facebook ads because they just work so very well. There are other traffic sources out there, but for the last few years, Facebook is where it's at. And one of the big, I think, concepts for a lot of people, I know a lot of us like shiny objects. We like to try a bunch of different stuff. But usually if you can nail one campaign, maybe two, one traffic source, one offer, and you put your foot on the pedal and you don't let up on that, you stay consistent, you can build a really good business and have good results. For me, that offer is foreclosures. I hardly ever, other than just testing for conversion, I just run that foreclosure ad. I know a bunch of you other guys do. I know Paul Holland does regularly. A bunch of you guys do. I was talking with an agent in Florida here who told me not to stop teaching this stuff, but that he's been doing the same exact funnel that I do for about 3 or 4 years now, and it just plain works. So mindset-wise, if you can just identify that one funnel, that one offer, that type of property, the type of prospect that you want to target, and you do that to the exclusion of everything else, that kind of focus can really start to yield results if you're patient with it. So, hey, Leo, there's nothing to the left. Here, let me, if you guys can't see my screen, let me bring up my screen. I bet you that works now. It seemed to have glitched out a little bit. I can see the audio and I can see the screen was on and off at the same time. All right, thanks, Leo, for letting me know. And you're a foreclosure guy too. I know you do a lot of that kind of business, so thanks for chiming in. Anyway, let's look at a few different angles that have been working really well. I have on my screen here. One that's working surprisingly a little bit better than I thought is just going with plain old fixer-uppers instead of foreclosures. And I posted this to the group, so I'll show you that ad right here. Okay, and the script is thinking about buying a starter home sometime soon, question mark. Here's a current list of Salt Lake County fixer-uppers for sale. And then you do the property type, see the list now with the big image. Now the image here is intentionally red because all of Facebook is blue. So it's kind of well known in Facebook advertising circles that if you do purple, red, some colors that burn the eyeball in contrast with the rest, you can get good conversions. And this campaign is working really good. And I just have the word fixer-upper big right there with a house in the background. I posted this to the group. You might have to dig through, but you can go and grab this image if you want in the Conversion Facebook group. And then it says, if you're thinking about buying your first home and you don't mind working for some sweat equity, you might like what you find on this list. So this is a very specifically targeted ad. We're talking to people who are probably renting right now who might want to buy their first home, and we're putting something in front of them that's a little more focused than just see a list of properties, which is what most of the industry is still doing, right? Most of our competitors are running Google pay-per-click ads or whatever and saying, search all properties in this area. Still works on some level, but you're going to get much more targeted leads, and you're going to be able to inform your own follow-up a little better based on what happens here. So people click on this, right? They see the little lead ad thing in Facebook, see the list now, and then their info is pre-filled. This is through the lead ad objective in Facebook. And then so they'll opt in. Sorry guys, I'm seeing your questions. I'm getting distracted. They'll opt in They'll go to the list, and then what's your follow-up? Your follow-up is going to be set them up for alerts, send them once a week, once a day, whatever you want to do, these fixer-uppers. And that really, really helps target your follow-up. That's so easy to do to the ad that they came in on. Question is, fixer-uppers foreclosure don't show up when I do my search. I'm based out of New Jersey. Johnny, drop me your link. I bet you we can find them. If not, I'll help you. Maybe support can help you find them. But I think in most conversion accounts, finding conversion sites, finding fixers is pretty easy. It's usually in the pick list unless your broker doesn't have it set up. And I know that there can be not many foreclosures, but fixers are usually easy to find. If I go right here to fixer upper, it's right there. Another thing you could try is just typing the keyword right there. So you might just type fixer in the keyword. Now, a lot of people get bogged down. They say, I only get 3 results. I only get 5 results. Remember, as long as you have a few, that's good. It doesn't need to be some huge list. It doesn't need to be 100% accurate and synced with your MLS. It can just be something interesting that people are opting in for. So don't get bogged down in the number of results. Just offer something niche down like foreclosures, fixers, something of that nature. And think about the kind of business that you like to do. Do you like selling higher end homes with interesting architecture? Or horse properties is a good example, or properties with, acreage, stuff like that. Think about what you would like to do. What kind of property would you like to sell 10 of this year, and then work backwards, figure out who the target is, and craft a campaign there. And Facebook allows you to do that. Okay, so that's the fixer-upper one. It's been working good. Another one that's been working, another interesting campaign that's working well early on, and this seems to have worked. I've only tried it a few times. We talked about it last week, is the property tour. We showed Andrew Robinson's flyover, I think it was last week, and that got really good leads a few months ago. And here it is consistently happening again. There's been 9 leads here for 285, and this is a campaign completely around a property tour, and the tour shows in stream in Facebook for the individual property, like this, right? Okay, it's the agent showing it in person, and then they'll learn more. It's not going to work here. It's the same thing you just saw, and we're generating leads on this property specifically, full name, email, phone, for $250. So you can call or email and just follow up on this property, send similar properties. But this is an approach we should all be taking for our listings, where we say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to take an in-person video, then I'm going to drop it in stream on Facebook, and I'm going to get the full name, email, phone number of everybody who opts in, so that I can follow up with them, right? What do you think of that? You tell them you're going to show it to all the neighbors, and this could be very powerful stuff. And this is something we don't talk about enough, this specifically promoting individual listings with video, but you can really do that well here, like this example shows. Target market criteria. Yep, and then the question Beth has about setting up the lead ad. So I'll show you guys both of those right now. So for the property, for the fixer-upper, the target I picked in that specific example was just renters over, I think it was 30. I was just going for people who are still renting, who are a little bit more mature, probably had a job in that market. But you're going to want to think about what that is in your market. For individual properties, it actually works out really well to target homeowners. So here we're targeting homeowners, not renters, who live in this zip code. And the reason for that is because homeowners who are rooted in a community are very likely, they'll still opt in if they're thinking about moving and want a different property, but they're also always thinking about how they can get their friends and relatives to move closer to them. So it's a great way to put people who might list with you into your database. So to answer your questions about kind of how this is executed, let's just go to the ad settings here. I'm going to my ad set. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Ad. I got to back out to the ad set, but I got my go to webinar links in my way. Get those out of the way. You guys can't see those. So I'll go to my ad set at the ad set level. I'll click edit there. Okay, it's all we picked was people Oh, in this case, we didn't do homeowners. I'm sorry, I was mistaken because we were working on a vacation niche. This agent wants specialized in vacation homes. So we actually did, when you pick location, we did people traveling in this location. So they're there visiting right now. This is a vacation home, and they're in this zip code right now with the vacation home, and they're opting in to see details about it. I better let him know. I'll let Cliff know that that should inform the way he follows up a little bit differently. He should assume that nobody he calls or follows up with here actually lives, and the conversation should immediately go to finding them a vacation home or asking them if they want one. So the targeting is 30 to 65, that zip code. They're visiting right now, and that's it. There's nothing else special going on. They're at least 30 years old, so that gets rid of all the college kids and the teenagers. And if you're over 30 visiting Orlando, you're probably somebody who might like the place and might want to buy a vacation home there. So the answer on the targeting is it's just common sense. Think about who you want to target and match the ad to them. To set up lead ads specifically, now lead ads, I'll reference the foreclosure Zapier tutorial because it is a little bit hairy. It's like kind of a thing you got to learn how to do if you're going to use them. But the setup for that, typing it in for you guys, is in this conversation from probably over a month ago now, maybe 2 months ago now. And in this link I'm sending you, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, are the keys to the castle. Honestly, that process I've repeated in so many different markets, not just for foreclosures, for the fixers, for new construction. It always works. You just need to struggle through and figure it out. So to answer your question about how step-by-step to set that up, I'm going to reference that. You can watch it later. But the quick answer is when you go and you click create an ad, you can then go to right here where it says collect leads for your business. Continue. This is where you're going to be able to set up that kind of ad, and you're going to get to a point where you need to create the lead form. It gets hairy. It gets a little complicated, but if you can figure this out, you're really going to like the results. And maybe at the end here today, I'll just do one. I'll do one fresh for you guys and walk through it, but I want to make sure we got through some of the other stuff. Okay, so a lot so far. Fixer-uppers work. If you don't have foreclosures, do fixer-uppers. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just target make sure the target is thought about. Give them an interesting property search to opt into, and it will work. You can get leads for, in a lot of cases, $2, $3. But even if you're in more challenging markets, for example, I'm doing some stuff in San Diego right now, which is very tough, very high average home price. I think it's like you got to have at least 400 to even get a house there. I was talking to somebody from there yesterday. But you can still get leads in a market like that. We've got 12 here for $775 a piece. And if your average sales price is $500,000, full name, email, phone, looks really good at $775 a piece. So I'll show you what we're doing there. I can't even remember. I think that's just a general foreclosure offer in that market. No, that is the fixer. Probably because I didn't find a lot of foreclosures. So if you don't have a lot of foreclosures in your market, a good thing to do would be to back up into that fixer-upper because you're probably going to find more of those in your database. So that ad looks like this. So it was a little bit different. I think in this case I did target homeowners, free weekly list of San Diego fixer-upper homes. Fixer-upper, that's a big popular TV show now, right? So it's kind of like you're getting help from HGTV. Keeping that top of mind with people. San Diego fixer-uppers, see the list now. You're looking for a solid real estate deal. And then you target homeowners. You put homeowners in your database opting in for this stuff. You start the conversation around the investment property they might want to buy before they realize that they don't have the stomach for it in most cases. And then you turn the conversation over to their other real estate needs. There's that. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of touch upon was a little bit of a case study with what we've been doing here with Cliff in Orlando. And I posted to the group the other day, and what we've been working on is a really focused golf niche, is filling his pipeline in the golf niche, but more importantly, just kind of building out a system from front to back that's no hassle, no fuss, without a lot of distractions or complications. So when I started talking to Cliff, the first thing we decided to go over was kind of the steps we took was to just say, hey, what are you really good at? I think we can all do this. Like, what do you know more about maybe than anybody else in the world, or maybe there's only two or three other people in your market who know that segment of the market as well as you do. And any of us who've been in business for a couple of years at least probably can identify that. You know, are you really good? Do you just know the land market for whatever reason? You happen to do a bunch of transactions where you just sold land listings, or you're really good at analyzing income properties. Are you really good at single family, passive single family investments versus fixer uppers? So what we did when we talked, we came up with vacation homes in Orlando. And I think I probably said, yo, that's great, but there's a lot of people doing that. And he touched upon golf. He mentioned he sold a lot of golf homes. I said, oh, that's great. It's a subset of a subset, and it's an opportunity to really get rich in a niche, really be the guy who does this thing. So what we came up with, we launched two different campaigns. One ended up being more expensive than the other. I think I turned one off. I'll show you the one that I turned off, only because it was slightly more expensive and I wasn't sure that the conversations weren't working. But the one ad looked like this. So we went and we ran a golf ad, and it says, like golf, ? Thinking about a second home in Orlando? Here's a fun list of properties for you. And the cost per lead may have been higher because I just bungled the copy for whatever reason. It's always a good idea to run 5 or 6 variations once you really drill down, but I haven't gotten to that point. This is kind of the first pass. Amazing Orlando golf homes. See the list now. There's nothing really too creative about this picture other than it has the golf there and a house next to it. Found this picture for what it's worth right in the stock archives in Facebook, so I didn't even have to go get that from anywhere. And then the target on this ad got went really deep on this. I'm going to bring it up for you guys here. Keep having problems finding my ad sets today. Here it is. Give me that ad set. There we go. Okay. And you notice here the budget set to 50. I don't know if you guys are the same way, but I always start the budget high and then back it down because you just want to know within a day or two. And spending $10 in a day is not going to tell you too much, especially in a case like this where you probably expect the leads to come in around 10 per. So what we did was we did people traveling in this location. They're visiting in Orlando within 25 miles. I went men only. I think I did a second version that was men and women. I have to compare which did better. And then look what we did. We went interests in golf and net worth liquid assets, assuming that somebody would need to have at least 100K in liquid assets before they could even think about buying a second home. I'm sure there's you could have less than that, but we know that people who have 100K in liquid assets probably are financially able. So everybody that was put into this into his conversion database, and in this case it was 13 leads real quick for $11.69 a piece. We know that all of them are probably strong, qualified people who are visiting right now. They're in town right now, and they are pretty responsive to golf homes. They like golf, and they like Orlando. So what this tells us is that on the back end, on the follow-up, we can do some very, very targeted follow-up. First of all, we can set up any alerts for any of these, which Cliff has been very good at. He's setting all these people up for the appropriate alerts in conversion. So these guys are all going to get it. I don't know what he has it set for, every day, daily or weekly. They're going to get a new list of golf homes. They're not going to be allowed to forget about the idea. Right? So they're going to go home from Orlando. It's going to start to get cold wherever they came from, right? And they're going to keep seeing these sunny, beautiful-looking golf homes from Cliff. They're going to keep seeing his name. And trust me, if he keeps this up and he gets a few hundred people into his database this way, it may cost a few $1,000s, but if he gets a few hundred into his database this way, people are going to start calling him and say, you broke me down. It's time. I need to come and buy one. All right. So very, very, this is a great question, Ellen. So it's a very niche down campaign. And what I did was I altered it a little bit to be a little less specific on the income, and eased it up and started showing this ad to people who weren't just here visiting now, but like Disney World. And the leads came in a little bit lower, but didn't have the same income qualifications. So we're kind of running that, and those are coming in, I think, around $7 or $8 a lead. So what do you guys think? And feedback, is this something you can see, not the golf specifically, but is this something you can see repeating in your market? And keep in mind, this is only part of the puzzle. Now that about a week has gone by and we're consistently generating leads, Cliff and I did an exercise this morning I'm going to share with you. And we started turning our attention to conversions. You know, how are we now going to convert these people? First off, 13 leads on this one, and I think there's like 30 on the other one. Let me find that. So 32 plus 15. It's at about 50 leads right now. We should not, I should mention, we should not get upset. And Cliff knows this. He's really good. But, and it goes without saying, but just because we have 50 leads and about $400 have been spent, and we should not get upset that we don't have somebody begging to go out and see properties and buy one right now, especially since we're kind of introducing an idea and it's second homes. It's not an urgent need right now. In a few months, if we get, say, it's at 50 now, but if we get 500 leads or we get 1,000 leads and we are not kind of working with a few people and we've spent $1,000 or $2, you know, $2,000 or $3,000, then we can get nervous. But remember, in this case, the average transaction, the average commission side is going to be $6,000. You know, even if you sell $200,000 property, or even bigger if you hit, you know, you get somebody who buys a $500,000 or $1 million. So the mindset should be, great. Now we have a consistent way to put leads into our database. We have 50 at about $7, $7.57 a piece. In this case, 11 there. Let's just keep this going and get the number up to about 500 leads. What's that going to cost us? All right, it's going to cost us $4,000, but it's not going to be too painful because we're not going to spend it all in one day. And if we can get just a 1 or 2% conversion rate over time, the numbers are really going to look good on ROI. Okay, so the first part is solved. We can just leave this Facebook ad run. If there's a budget shortfall from day to day, you can lower the budget. If you want to amp it up, then you just go in, it takes 10 seconds, and you say, hey, I'll spend 100 a day for a few days. And you play with that. Now, the next part is going to be, what do we send to these people? You know, how do we get them to go over the edge? We know that just setting up alerts will work on some level, but what is the extra stuff we can do? Well, the extra stuff we can do is to send interesting content related to this niche. It's so common sense, and I know I'm probably boring half of you right now, but what kind of interesting content? Well, there's lots of different things. You can do individual video tours of properties, which Cliff has done. You can send, I told him at the very least every day, just try to go into the MLS and just pick an interesting property and send a link to your conversion site. Just say, hey, I was looking this morning. This just came up. It's on the 16th fairway. You know, this is a great little complex. I sold a home here last week. Check this one out. And if he just stays on top of people and keeps his name and he sends interesting properties, his conversion rate is going to go, we're not going to be talking 1 to 3%. We're probably going to be edging up over time over the 3% mark, maybe even to the 5% range. I just know it. It's going to take a while, but good stuff is going to happen. All right, so what do we do today? I said I wanted to come up with something that Cliff could use maybe as his intro piece, like the thing that people see day one in the drip campaign, maybe that kind of positions him as the expert and at least lets people see what he looks like and hear his voice. So I asked him to just send me 5 bullet points, you know, 5 common questions or whatever. And he just sent me, he sent me a really quick email. We didn't think about this too hard. He said, well, here's 5 Orlando vacation home myths. They were like little bullet points. I said, great. I whipped out Google Slides. Do you guys know how to do this? You just go to drive.google.com. We all have Google accounts, conversion. Drive.google.com. I go new, Google Slides, like that. Okay, and I took his slides. I went, I want to show you guys how to do this because it's so easy to do. I went over to his website and I grabbed his picture real quick. Okay, so where is he? Grabbed him from somewhere. Come to the agent roster, right click, copy image address, and I went insert image by URL. It took me just a bit, like this. And he's going to show up here. Where are you? There you are. Okay, and then I just took a little text box here, and I went Cliff Clover. Thank you to Cliff, by the way, for being a good sport and let me just talk about him like this. I asked him today if it would be all right, and he said okay. So boom, like this. All right, and I took this. If you hover over, you can move it. And now, what are we going to call this? All right, we'll call it Top 5 Vacation Home Myths. By the way, guys, any of us can do this, and it takes like no time to build a presentation to give us a competitive edge over everybody else in our market, because nobody else is doing this stuff, right? And it just go like this. Oops. Okay, looks good enough. And then I right-click on the slide. I am intentionally giving you some of the nitty-gritty tips here because I'm hoping if you guys will do this. I'm doing duplicate slide. Get rid of this stuff. I could even leave his name there on every slide. Just make it smaller. And I went through his bullet points. All right, so I won't bore you. And I just listed them one at a time. I'll pay higher taxes because I'm not a Florida resident. Condos are better because of maintenance and reliability. Bigger is better, and so on. And then ended with the last slide. Then what we did, and any of you guys can do this on your own, but I wanted to help Cliff, show him how it was done. I got on and just fired up my Screencast-O-Matic, screencast-o-matic.com, and I went record like this. And I'll drop you guys a link to the video. The audio is bad. I think my birds are chirping in the background. I'm sorry to Cliff for that. But the point is, it's ugly, it's basic, but it doesn't matter because it's all about just positioning Cliff as somebody who knows about Orlando vacation homes. That's all that matters here. And we didn't, I didn't even think about it. I should have forced him to go a little more into golf, but we didn't. But he's the guy, so it's really ugly. And I just hit record and I went like this. You'll hear it. Hey, I'm here with Cliff, an agent here in Florida, and I just started talking, and we were talking. There's some myths. We know a lot of you guys watching this are thinking about buying a home in Orlando. Here's 5 myths. Cliff, you ready to go? He said yes, and then basically we went through one by one, and it was a 10-minute video. We just ran the recording, and then when we were done, we just uploaded it to YouTube. Okay? Now, what we have now that this has been uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to go try to find it. And I'll send it to you guys. What we have now is a really good intro content piece so that maybe we can sift out a higher percentage of people. Let me see here, where'd it go? Sorry. Okay, we can sift out a higher percentage of those leads and make them want to actually communicate faster. Because right now they're just on vacation, they're looking at a few properties at the back of their head, and it's not going to really get heavy for them until they've seen properties much time by alerts. So we want to up conversions. We've got this little content piece. It goes like this. Hi, Ryan Hartman here with Cliff Clover, cliffcloverhomes.com down in Orlando, and we're going to talk real quickly about the top 5 Orlando higher tax. Okay, so it's 9 minutes. It's not too short, but it's not too long. And anybody who is actually thinking about buying a vacation home in Orlando seriously will watch this thing, and at the end they're gonna have rapport with Cliff. They're gonna know who he is, and there's not gonna be much reason for them to contact another agent down there because they run the risk that they run into an agent who doesn't know this stuff as intimately as Cliff does. And by doing the video, he proves subconsciously or whatever, he illustrates, gives evidence that he is a guy who can serve in this niche and knows what he's doing. So we're going to take this video now, and I think this is the main thing I wanted to show you guys. I want to show you how we're going to use this video for follow-up, and it's really simpler than you might think. I'm now going to log into his conversion account. Oops, that's not him. I'm going to have to turn off my screen here, guys. Be patient with me. I got to log in, and there's some, whenever I do this, there's some sensitive info. So let me just stop showing my screen for just a second. I don't want to show everybody else's business, like it's a list of conversion accounts and all that. So let me just go in. Does anybody have any questions? Ellen, I'm going to get to yours right now. Ellen's asking, where are the leads and how do you track them? Is there a hashtag or something? It's not a silly question at all. Basically, when we set up the ad, the way that you set up those lead ads, you can assign a hashtag to them. So yes, we assign a hashtag, and what we're going to do now, once I get the screen back live here, is we're going to actually build a special drip campaign for that hashtag even. So anytime that one of these leads comes in, they get a special different drip campaign. Where the heck is this? Okay, now I'll bring my screen back live here. Oh my goodness. You guys would be laughing if you could see what I'm doing on my screen. Every time I click to show the screen again, it disappears. There, come on, go. All right. It's like some kind of bug with GoToWebinar. All righty. So let's go to agents here. We'll go to Cliff. We'll log in as him. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a new drip campaign that delivers this video right away. So I'm going to first go and try to remember what hashtag I used. The hashtag was GolfRH. I put my initials on there so he would know it was for me. And he's got them right here. Okay. Now we're going to go down to settings. We're going to create a new drip campaign. Right here. All the way down at the bottom. We'll do new drip campaign, and we'll just call this one Golf Homes or whatever we want. I'm not going to share this because it's going to have, we'll share it. It's going to be called Cliff Clover Golf Homes. How about that? So I guess if you guys are watching this on a recording, if you want to, you can see, if you go into the shared library right here, you can see, if you type in Cliff Clover Golf Homes and search for that, you'll be able to see kind of what we're doing with it, what kind of content he's doing. And then hashtag, I'm going to pick. So from the drop-down, I want anybody who gets that hashtag to be assigned. And I click Add Campaign. And it's now available. It's right down here. So I'm simply going to do this. Okay, I'm going to go right here where I can add drip emails and texts. And on day one, I'm going to send an email. This will go the next day. 5 Orlando vacation home myths. This should get a relatively high open rate because they just opted in the content about vacation homes. It should be relevant, right? So 5 Orlando vacation home myths. Hi, first name, that's our merge tag there. Thanks for checking out. Thanks for checking out checking out the list of golf homes. Area golf homes yesterday. Here's in case you're, I'm just thinking this through. If you're thinking about buying a second home sometime in the next few years, right? You're not assuming that you're going to jump all over them. Few years. I'm sure you might have some questions. Feel free to reach out anytime. In the meantime, here's a video I recently recorded about 5 common Orlando vacation home buying myths. Now watch what's going to happen here. And we get the request all the time. And Cliff's a BombBomb user too. People are like, I want to embed video like BombBomb. Cliff sent me this video via BombBomb today. It looked awful because unless you enable images in your Gmail account, when the individual email comes on, you don't know what you're looking at. Unless you know to click show images, it looks like crap anyway. So the BombBomb email came over looking real rough, but it showed the video down as a thumbnail, and that's what happens. It's going to show as a thumbnail in Gmail. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my video URL, paste it in right there, Cliff, right? P.S. And watch, we're going to be human. We're going to roll with the fact that the video is low quality, that it was, there's birds in the background. Yes. Sorry for, I realize the audio in the video is a little wacky, is a little off. Apologies for that, but the content, but I think you might find that the content is pretty useful. All right, so he's humanizing. You do the PS, he's just being honest, like, sorry, it's a little off, apologies for that, recorded quick. You might find that the content is pretty useful. And that's it. So what is this email doing? It's basically saying, hi, thank you. It's being cool. It's echoing back what they were thinking about. It's giving them a useful resource, something that positions Cliff, and then we add that email to go out on day one. All right. In that video, we may only get like a 10 or 20% open rate, but anybody who watches that video, again, is going to see Cliff as the expert, and this is now totally on autopilot. That video is going to work for him on autopilot, just like the leads are coming in, you know, like clockwork, because it's a Facebook ad and you can turn it on at any time. He is now delivering this video, and this video is doing the work for him, positioning him as an expert without any work on his part. Okay, it took about, he had to spend a half hour with me recording the darn thing, and he had to think about the content. But other than that, it's there and it's evergreen. And what we're going to do now, he actually has a bunch of other videos in the can. We're going to pepper in a handful more, maybe once every week or two. They'll get another video from him or some kind of content related to this. And we're going to build the drip campaign to be very tailored around this niche. All right. I know that was long, guys, but I hope you get what just happened. It's only a one email drip campaign, but it's his conversion rates. He stands to get a lot more conversions on this now than he would just using the default campaign, because his follow-up is now specifically tailored to that buyer. All right. Thanks, Beth. Johnny's asking what link you need. I just meant your main website link for your conversion site, just so I could see if we could try to find those fixer-uppers for you. Just whatever your main URL is. And then next thing, what Cliff did today, just so you know, to start, so he's going to have this drip campaign going, but from time to time, he might have unique videos. So he had a video of a specific property, and he just went in like this. He went quick actions, mass email, and he chose everybody in this hashtag. And now he can do this anytime. If he sees a cool golf property, he just goes in and he goes golf RH. Cool. Right, that's his hashtag whenever he's talking about golf stuff. His Gmail opens up. It fills in all their emails. It's taking a minute because of the GoToWebinar. And he just types, say, hey, and guys, I can't, this is really hard to coach, but it's really actually simpler than you might think. People get nervous about what to write and say. Just pretend you're talking to a friend. So I'm going to pretend I'm writing my brother Eric an email. Cool golf property on 17th fairway. Hi, I was out showing properties the other day and thought this one was pretty cool, pretty good. Kitchen is awesome. Right? Editorialize. That's like not even a full sentence. We're writing like we talk, right? We're not using English school, you know, freshman college grammar. Kitchen is awesome. Let me know if interested. If you have any questions or whatever. Questions. Right. You know, and then you just drop the link to YouTube. And I'm hoping from working with Cliff, I think he'll get it because he's a disciplined guy. But I'm hoping, and I know that if he can just do this 2 or 3 times a week, this little extra pepper in, aside from the drip campaigns and the alerts, and just editorialize and show that he, you know, and deliver value in this way. It's not a long, flowery email, but I know that if a lot of us just did this more frequently around specific properties, the results are really good because you generate conversations around specific properties and people know that you're there serving them. Um, what is the address of the video site you mentioned? Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me get you that. That is Screencast-O-Matic. Screencast-O-Matic.com. So I'll drop that to everybody. This always comes up like every week. It's definitely a wonderful tool. It's $15 a year for the Pro. The free is great, but you're going to look a little amateur if you have their little logo in the bottom, in the bottom corner. You'll notice a lot of kids on YouTube will have that if they're doing their Minecraft videos. A lot of them use this software. So you don't want to be like kids. Be a pro. Get the $15. So I'll send that to all, and it allows you to do a bunch of extra stuff. Like, for example, in that video with Cliff, my Gmail beeped, and then I went to close my Google Voice, but it showed my whole Gmail in the video. It was a bummer. So there's about 10 seconds of the video that are just chopped out. I used the Screencast-O-Matic editing. I just chopped it out and tried to make it sound, and it's barely noticeable, but Cliff like kind of just, he's talking about one thing and then he just kind of skips and goes to something else. This is the kind of thing that most people would worry about in the interest of professionalism. They'd say, oh, I got to re-record the whole video because I showed my Gmail accidentally. This is so hard. And really the mindset should be, I need to get this darn thing out. I've got a half hour to accomplish this task. And that's how I was with Cliff. Like, we just got to get this done, man, in the can. We'll go back later and make it sharper if we need to. If we need to edit out something crappy, fine. Because now this thing didn't exist earlier today. And now, for very little expense, the cost of Screencast-O-Matic, which can be free or $15 a year, and maybe a half-hour effort of time, now there's an automated drip campaign delivering a video that positions Cliff as an expert to the right crowd. This is really critical, key stuff. All right, let's check out NJ Propertunities, NorthJerseyHomeSearch.com. Okay. That looks great, though, that design, by the way. So if we search options, fixers, we should be good. We'll go Bergen County. I miss Bergen. Is Hoboken in Bergen County? I lived in Hoboken for a year. I can't remember. I'd like to say I miss living up there, but I don't. I grew up in Jersey, so I think I'm allowed to make fun of it. Hudson County, okay. All right, so 59 results. Yeah, you got fixers. Johnny, do you see what I did? I just picked options, fixer-uppers, and then the county. Unless maybe maybe it's not, there aren't any in Hudson. Maybe that's the deal. Yeah, there were only 3 there. I see what you mean. So you can try to like add different property types, and if you need to cheat, just add more counties. It's okay, you know, as long as you're staying in the general area. You promise Hudson, some Hudson will be in there. But we say just generate the lead, and if you need to go back, you know, or figure out a search that gets you enough lists. How are they tagged as fixer-uppers? I actually don't. I'll just guess that what Walt and the guys are doing, Justin, are doing is they're probably, yes, they're probably picking up remarks. Depending on whether it's a specific field in the MLS or if it's in the remarks. Sometimes it'll be a specific field for some of these types. And you guys would be, I mean, every market, such real estate is so diverse, and every time we're in a new market, we get new customers, there's a lot of manual programming that goes on to map these different fields. So the quick answer is sometimes, yeah, our last resort might be to just do a keyword search for fixers and show those, but it's different in every market. If we have the direct field, we find it. We get creative where we can and just try to generate the list. But remember, we got to keep our focus on what's important. We don't need to give, when somebody's just casually searching online or responding to our offer, the list that they get doesn't need to be 100% accurate. The website is a tool to generate conversations and engagement. Where we need to be 100% accurate is when we're working one-on-one, and that's when you're going to switch the whole thing over to your MLS anyway. You know, you're going to run the search in your MLS and do it from there. I think I'm losing my voice. I don't know if that's what that question is about, but I hear it a lot, like, oh, it doesn't have all the properties, or it's, you know, it's not very accurate. It's okay. Get the result. You don't need to show Cliff doesn't need to deliver every golf home in that zip code accurately. He just needs to show a list of 10 or 20 or so to satisfy the client's expectations early on. And then later on, he's going to really deliver with his personal expertise, really targeted lists, because that's what he can do. He can go into the realtor database, into the MLS, and do that. Cool. Oh, thank you. Okay, anything else, guys? So who's going to go record? I would love to see. It would get me excited. Does anybody have any niche funnels like this in mind that you were going to go ahead and bust out in the next week? Got a long Labor Day weekend. Las Vegas vacation homes, great. So same thing, right? You can go ahead and target basically the whole country. Target single men, I'm just guessing. Target single men who like poker, who are like in their 40s, who make a little money. So, they don't have the wife and kids anymore, and they're bored. You can have a lot of fun with that, Beth, Vegas. So, yeah, Las Vegas vacation homes. Or I know my brother vacations there with his family. You target families, show them some pool homes, and the ad might be targeted to, hey, you guys go have fun at night. You guys take turns going out while the other parent watches, or something like that. Corporate housing is a really cool one. Executive homes, Jason, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good idea. Cool, Jody. Yeah, you live on Blair, you live on a 27-hole golf course. Own that thing. I mean, just put an ad out there. Here's a list of homes in this subdivision, and have people do it. Yeah, Paul. Brothels, I think. So, Beth, Paul wants you to run one. I guess you want to do homes within walking distance of brothels in Las Vegas. Is prostitution illegal in Nevada? I have to schedule a trip here myself. Oh, certain counties only. Okay. NYE County, Nye County. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for being on today. Blair can't answer it. Okay, thanks for being on today. We'll get the recording live. I'd love to see some of the niche things you do. I think maybe the biggest takeaway would be, try to run targeted ads around your niche, and try to do that one little video if you can. You can just dictate with Google Slides, 5 common questions. Even answer one question. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing people ask me, about XYZ. Well, another great one, guys, that a lot of investors will gravitate to, and first-time buyers. Do a video about the next up-and-coming areas for appreciation in your market. Which neighborhoods are poised to have solid appreciation, and why? And if you just talk for 2 minutes about that, you are going to deliver more value to somebody who's a stranger to your market, or position yourself as an expert. And we can all do that in just a few minutes. Lake homes in Austin, cool. Yeah, apartments near University of Texas. Parents of students. I used to live on University of Pennsylvania campus for 10 years. I started in real estate, and parents of students, buy homes all the time to save on dorm fees. And we didn't, when I was doing that, Facebook, I don't even think it was invented yet. It was like maybe they were just coming along, but we didn't have all these options for targeting. But if I could have run an ad targeting actually the students and said, tell your mom to buy you a house, stop paying, you'll save money on dorm fees. Here's a list of homes for sale, near campus. I think you'll do great with that, Shirley. That's a really cool idea. Yeah, apartments or homes near the university. Beth bought her son a condo near UT when he was there. Cool, that's fun. So we got somebody who actually did that on the call, specifically in your market, Shirley. You can talk to Beth about what made her pull the trigger on that, Beth in Arizona. And then you rented it after he graduated. Yep. So yeah, you get a little bit of you save money on the dorm fees. That you're not paying the college. You start getting principal paid on it, and you have a great rental. And of course, you never have to evict college students because mom and dad are going to back it up and pay the rent if the kid blows it all on what Julie's talking about. And what Julie's talking about is medical marijuana caregivers is her niche. So That's an interesting one. Medical marijuana caregivers. So how are you going to target those? Okay. Oh, research local ordinances. Oh, and maybe show them like how does that tie into real estate? Show them properties where weed is legal or it's more friendly. Okay, cool. That's really neat. Yeah, that's great. You might run into Facebook being a pain in the butt about that stuff because they want to be so vanilla. But I'm sure there's a way you can phrase that flies under the radar. Yeah, zoning. Yeah, Blair's saying zoning. I get it now. Cool. All right, guys. Yep, medical marijuana for yeah, cool. Okay, any of you guys I guess any of you guys who live in Colorado could just advertise around the country to certain people, you know, and just say, hey, you're tired of the hassle, come here. That would be a cool, cool funnel too on that topic. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for being on again, and I'll get the recording live. And oh, hunters is another one. We could do this all day. I actually like it. That's why I keep going state forest to hunters. So guys, pick one. I'd love to see what these are. If you guys need any suggestions, just Ryan@conversion.com. Ideally, post them to the group because you're going to get crowdsourced help from everybody else. And just say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this niche. Here's who I'm going to target. Anybody have any ideas about what you would do? Images in the Facebook ad, follow-up email topics. This could be really a lot of fun if you want to post that stuff in the Facebook group. All right, thank you guys for your participation. We'll see you later.